With the current new wave of AI tools, there are a lot that handle spoken audio in some way, transcription, dictation, interpreting commands, that kind of thing. But there are not that many that sort of combine this together. So the ability to dictate, say, an email, but in the middle of that dictation, also issue commands and changes and corrections. I'm Chris Chinchilla, and in this video, sponsored by Aqua Voice, I'm going to take a look at their desktop application for Mac and see what it can do for me as I dictate my way through many different tasks. If you like what you see here, you can find more at chrischinchilla.com and also click on any of the links in the toolbar below to support the video or leave any comments. And if you want to know more about Aqua Voice, then take a look at the link above. With all of that out the way, let's get started. This is the onboarding window when you first start the application, running up here. Now, I would like to pick all of these, but I have to pick one. I would like it to be one of these, but it probably is this. So let's select that rather depressively. And you can also see how visible this is. Lurking down the bottom here is this click to start dictation with a keyboard shortcut option. I'll come back to that later. Okay. Aqua to paste text. That's already been allowed. Allowed to use my microphone. Yes. Start up login. I'm going to disable that. I like to have a little bit more control over the way my applications run. And continue. So at the moment we have left control key set, and there is Apple dictation. I changed this because of this very issue. It's actually very easy to accidentally trigger dictation in macOS, so I put left command key twice instead, which is still sort of possible. Sometimes if you're doing copy pastes and things like that very quickly, it's easy to trigger it. So that's why it's worth sometimes changing it. I might actually, well, I don't actually have an internal Apple keyboard. I have an external keyboard. So I may just switch it to that just for now. That means it'll never actually get triggered. So, okay, so that is checked. This is the microphone input. I will test it, but usually when you're already using it, which I am now, which this could be a challenge when it comes to recording, you don't necessarily see anything. And the floating bar recommended, which is what we already looked at down here. Aqua has a pro version. You could get a reasonable amount done with this free version here. 1,000 free words and 5 custom dictionary values. With the pro, it's unlimited. A lot of custom dictionary values, custom instructions you can set up, and then early access to new features. The good people at Aqua Voice already gave me a couple of months of Pro, so I'm going to be testing with that, so you'll see the full potential. Okay then, so this is where I will see if having my microphone recording elsewhere is going to be a problem or not. So hold down left control and begin reading aloud. Hey June, thanks for the photos, they look great. Best regards, Chris. And you saw the result there, a bit better. I mean, I've got more punctuation. So I didn't re-record this, but I was told by the Aqua Voice team something I missed is you could see the picture on the right-hand side has the name of a person called Jun, J-U-N. So it was actually more correct than me. Deep context improves responses for coding, emails, and messages. I definitely want that. I'm guessing this is going to be, a lot of these tools want now the screen reading permission, basically. They're using screenshots. Okay, we can continue. All right, hands-free mode. Double press left control and then press again to paste. Okay. I can dictate like this in any app. When I press the activation key, the text will paste to my cursor. I'm pretty sure some of my pronunciation there might have, no, actually, no, it was better than I thought. There's a few areas where I thought I was a little unclear, but let's see. Well, that was actually better. I should speak less clearly, obviously. Okay, I always like to start by looking at settings. A lot of these we've already seen. I have apparently dictated 57 words. Fantastic. Activation, here's an extra new thing we haven't seen before. Space to switch to hands-free. Remembering some of these may be a little hard in some respects, I'm not sure. Yes. Seems reasonable. Okay, here's where I think things get more interesting. I'd like to add some custom words. This is always an important one. And let's go for a couple more that I tend to use a lot in different contexts. That'll do for now. And instructions, I'm going to say, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I'm going to use it anyway. But also here, as you can see up here, you use specific instructions in different applications. So I'm just going to think, it's kind of hard to think where I might want to do this. I'm going to try, okay. In Obsidian, use title case. Actually, I'm going to try being a little bit more complicated here. Let's see if this works. And then in Apple Notes, maybe that's too specific. We will see. Okay, so let's give this a go. Create a new note. Article pitch for magazine. German music software companies. Okay, I mean, that wasn't an Aqua problem. That was an Obsidian problem. Let's try to be a bit more specific, maybe. Okay, so let's save that. And let's see. Article pitch. German music software companies. Okay, good. And now we'll go back here. Intro. Why are so many music software companies based in Germany? Next heading, premise. In Germany, there are companies like Steinberg who make Cubase and Dorico. There's Avid. Actually, no, remove Avid. I don't think Avid are German. There's also Ableton who make Live. And then there's companies like Native Instruments who make, what do you call it? They make music plugins that are very popular. Why are so many of these companies based in America? Sorry, I mean in Germany. I would like to maybe interview some of the more interesting people in those companies to find out why so many of these big music software companies are based here. So I didn't even specify that these were subheadings, and they are there. Why are so many music software companies based in Germany? That went into title case. Sort of fine. It sounds like a title. I also feel like there should be a question mark there, but that's okay. But the rest of it is pretty good. There are companies like Steinberg, that is spelled correctly, Cubase, and Dorico. That especially is not a particularly well-known word. It's not even particularly well-known software. In the like, a lot of people have heard of Cubase, but not necessarily Dorico. Able to make Live. There are companies like Native Instrument. It took out my mention of Avid, removed a lot of my ums and ahs. Maybe interview that probably could have gone. Okay, but generally speaking, that's pretty good. So let's try Apple Notes, and I'm going to try another custom thing I put in there. Okay. So what did I specify? Uppercase for headings. And I'm going to try some British English. Aqua Voice testing. You can see there is caps there. Not quite sure where that came from, but anyway. Okay. The sky is a beautiful color today. I have to think of some more British English. I was traveling to work and I could still see it's in uppercase. But it did get the spelling right. But I'm going to try a couple more things in a second. Let's maybe fix that. I mean, I don't actually want it to be like that anyway. So. The sky is a beautiful color today. And I wanted to prioritize what I need to do in the center of town whilst I was traveling to work. I thought about getting the lift, because after all, my name is Christian Schiller, and often people forget that name. What else can I say? Okay, some things are correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Because there's actually a single L in US English. I mean, that could have been anything, but this is not correct. I sort of said it unclearly on purpose though, so allow it for a bit of that. Let's try a little bit more again. My name is Chris Chinchilla. I'm going to try something a little bit different here. I know for a fact that one of the people behind Aqua Voice is a Spanish speaker. She scrapped that last sentence. Also known as Chris Chinchilla. Now look at that. Even got my bad Spanish correct. Now on that, let's try some of the German in the middle of the English. Today I was walking down Warschauer Straße. It's pretty good. Yeah, I was walking down Warschauer Straße and I thought maybe I'll go to the Kino later, see a film. And I thought I have to get the train. Get the S-Bahn to Ostkreuz and then change to Ostbahnhof and then go onto the U-Bahn and then I can be in the Kino. It's actually pretty good. I don't see any problems there. So I mixed sort of a bit of German and English. It's done the beta S. I could possibly even go into those settings and say turn those into a double S, that kind of thing. I mixed in German words. It's actually something a lot of people will do here. It's kind of mixtures of language. I get the train, the S-Bahn, it hyphenated it correctly, got all the train station names correct, and the U-Bahn, the capitalization is also correct. So got a lot of that quite correct. The casing wasn't necessarily that correct, and I think I still have to be a little clear about my nickname, but for the most part, that was pretty good. So of course, always the most interesting thing you could do is combine these tools together. So I've got ChatGPT here, and I'm going to use Aqua Voice to dictate into it. You can kind of do that with ChatGPT in itself, but, well, this is what I'm going to do. So what I'll do is use Aqua Voice to dynamically generate a list and then get ChatGPT to do something with that list. Okay. I'm going to London in a few weeks, and I would like to make a to-visit list. Number 1, I want to visit the best cafe in town. And number 2, I would like to visit the best restaurant in town. Number 3, I would like to visit the best pub. Actually remove that. I'm not drinking alcohol at the moment. And finally, I would like to visit the best park in town. There we go. So the Aqua Voice part did pretty much everything we wanted here. Make me an itinerary. There we go. Now we're just passing it over to ChatGPT. So it's not really an Aqua Voice specific thing, but there we go. Yes, I mean, I don't know if this is this is accurate or not. But next, I'm going to try something a little bit more academic. I don't know. I'm working on this sustainable computing book. Actually, the manuscript is due quite soon. And so I'm going to try a few more scientific terms and see how we get through there. So this is in Scrivener. The software carbon intensity brackets SCI specification has reached version 1.0 and is now an ISO standard. According to the founder of the foundation, Joe Smith today said, "This is a great announcement." Put quotes around what Joe Smith said. And with this approval of the publication of version 1.0, we're now working towards we're now nearing a standard that all software can follow. This includes other measures like carbon intensity, carbon footprint, carbon emissions, usually in milligrams, sometimes in joules, sometimes in watts, and combines all of those into a measurement that everybody can understand and appreciate. Okay, now, I'm not saying everything I just said was correct, but what Aqua Voice understood is correct. It does seem to struggle with the thing in brackets. The rest of it is pretty good. I'll try that one more time. Software carbon intensity. In brackets, SCI. Yeah, okay. So I'd still really like to see if we can get it to remember that from now on. Software carbon intensity, in brackets, SCI. When I say software carbon intensity, use SCI from now on. Software carbon intensity is a new standard. Now look at that. Try an email next. Event planning. Hey Joe, hey Sarah. Here's the list of tasks you will need to do on the event on the 29th of this month. Okay. Joe, here's your list of to-dos for the night. Print out a list of names, mark people off as they come, and then check at the end who didn't come. Sarah, here's your list of to-dos for the evening. Check the stock at the bar, mark things as you sell them, then at the end, check what's left. I think that's it. I still need to create my own to-do list. You can let me know if there's anything you think I need to do, but I think that's it. Looking forward to the event. I think it's going to be a great success if we can work together. See you all soon. Chris. Okay, let's see how that copes. Pretty good. Now, this is good. One thing I will say is the formatting on these task lists is not technically correct. That's sort of markdown formatting as opposed to rich text formatting. Actually getting rich text formatting in different applications is quite complicated, so don't necessarily fault Aqua Voice for that. Down the bottom here, there's a few things here. This should be capital. I feel like that should be a new line. The rest of it is pretty good. One interesting new feature in Aqua Voice is the ability to do a form of coding. You kind of call it vibe coding. So I'm using bulk.new here to create a documentation site with Astro Starlight. So far, we haven't really done very much with Aqua Voice, but I'm going to start making some changes very soon. So let's just let it finish what it's doing. I could have actually probably also just read out the prompt there, but hey, I think that's kind of obvious. I'm going to start with create a getting started guide. Of course, we still have to hit enter here. Maybe that's a future feature. Now, Bolt feels the need to fill in all the text for the getting started guide, which is not quite what I asked for, but that's a Bolt issue, not an Aqua Voice issue. But we could see here, getting started was created with the right casing in the right place, etc., etc. So that's interesting in itself. We could also do the opposite. Actually delete the getting started guide. And now it should vanish and update everything accordingly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, where things can get a bit more interesting is where we can sort of manipulate some of the code here without being specific. So change the define config title to chinchilla docs. And you could see, you could kind of see it. Should stop talking, shouldn't I? But you could see that it actually formatted things to the right appropriate fields that are on screen here. Now, yeah, I'll just delete that. That's okay. I could have, of course, used Aqua Voice to delete that, but I've already shown that. Okay. And in theory, hopefully, we should, yeah, there we go. So we could try something else sort of similar-ish, like change the Astro dependency to version 4. Now, this is a little, I should really stop talking sometimes, shouldn't I? Let's see. There we go. We could obviously specify the actual specific version, but I think that's a good start there. And in a similar way, we could do more broad changes. Add a React dependency. And Astro needs to add React a couple of different ways. It's not just a dependency. So this should, yes, there we go. Awesome. So to finish this all off, I'm actually coming back to my Astro website here, and I'm in VS Code. Now, it, of course, has its own Copilot tools built in. They're sort of dotted around. Usually I trigger it by, let's actually come to here, and I will do inline chat. So create an image tag and a bold tag and then 2 paragraph tags. Okay, and again, we have to sort of, the connections are still not seamless. Let's also pre-filled that. Remove the variables you just added to the tags. But yeah, you get the idea. This is an aspect where the two tools are different from each other. So you don't get that seamless connection, and you have to kind of keep stopping and starting. In the future, maybe you could dictate the whole thing all the time. That would be kind of cool. And that was my look at Aqua Voice and their dictation plus interaction app. This video was sponsored by Aqua Voice, but I gave you very definitely my independent opinion. If you want to find out more about them, you can take a look at aquavoice.com. It's the link up there. If you want to know more about me, you can take a look at christianchiller.com and also click on any of the links down beneath the video player to support the show and leave a comment, share, review. Everything is welcome. Thank you very much for joining me and take care, everybody.